This conference is incredibly important as you fight, as we fight for the future of freedom and democracy, because that is what is at stake. What we're seeing across the world is authoritarian regimes, China and Russia, working together to try and impose their will on others and to try and undermine freedom around the world. And what we've seen over the past 30 years is complacency on the part of the free world and a rising of the number of people, the number of parts of the world affected by those regimes who seek to undermine the basic values we believe in, whether that's the ability to speak your own mind, control your own money, or indeed decide your own future. That is what is at threat here. And the people on the front line of that fight for freedom are people in Ukraine. Brave people who are having to fight for their lives in their country because Vladimir Putin has perpetrated this appalling war. We need to do all we can to continue to support them in their fight. What does that mean? It means making sure that they have all the weapons they need, NATO standard weapons, including planes, to be able to fight against the Russians and drive Russia out of their country. It also means that we in the West need to build up our defences and our armaments so we can sustain that effort into the long term. We also need to make sure there is no talk of some kind of early deal, there is no talk of appeasement, there is no talk of ceding Ukrainian territory. That would be completely wrong, and it would send the wrong message to aggressors around the world. Instead, what we should be doing is ensuring Russia leaves Ukraine entirely and that they are held to account for the terrible crimes that have been committed right up to Vladimir Putin. Because we've seen appalling war crimes, the use of rape as a weapon of war, killing, child abductions. Those people need to be held to account for the appalling acts they've committed. And we also need to make sure that the funds seized from Russia during the conflict are used to good ends in helping rebuild Ukraine and helping rebuild Ukraine as a free society. But what we also need to make sure is after this appalling war is ended, that we keep the flame alive for freedom and democracy in Russia. And I applaud the brave people who have stood up against the regime. I applaud those people who believe that a free and democratic Russia is possible. And that ultimately is the only way we are going to reach long-term peace and security. So what I want to say today is I back you in your struggle. I back you in what you are doing, in your long-term vision for a free and democratic Russia. And I will stand with you and help you in your efforts to establish that. Thank you very much for inviting me to address you remotely at your conference in Riga today. And I wish you all the best and look forward to working with you on this very important mission.